Next, we're going to take a look at columns. To do this, we are going to open this document. Well, it says I already have it open, so here it is. The first thing I want to do is make sure that your ruler is active. To do this, you go to View, then you go in the Show group right here and make sure that ruler is checked. After doing that, let's go to Page Layout and let's take a look at our columns. The columns icons right here. We're going to click on this and we're going to make it 1. So now it's just one column. If I want it to be 2, it can be 2, 3. If I want to change, I can change this to left aligned or right. But those are not my only options. I can go to more columns, and here we will see the same options that we just looked at. But we also can add columns. I can increase the number of columns. I can make it 9 columns if I want. And notice that when I select 9, I have the ability to customize the width of each of those columns. Now I'm going to change this back to 2. If you want, you can also insert a line between the 2 columns. I'm going to remove the line. If my columns are currently not equal, if I want to make them equal, all I have to do is select the equal option and it will automatically make those equal. Columns can also be applied to a paragraph. I've selected this paragraph. I can go to Columns and make it 2 columns or 3, or format it in any way that I want to. There are 2 ways that we can resize a column. One is through insertion markers and the other is through the columns dialog box. To see how to do this, let's start with this paragraph and let's make this paragraph 2 columns. Now you can go to Columns, More Columns, and you'll see that this is set up to be equal column length. We want to deselect that. 0.5 is the spacing, and the spacing refers to the distance here between the 2 columns. Now that I have my 2 columns, I can click here, and these right here are called my insertion markers. Notice that the insertion markers are not present on this side. To make those present, I have to click on that column, and then on this side those insertion markers are gone, but the insertion markers are still here. Insertion markers are used to resize the width of your column. It is also possible through the ruler to adjust the size of the space between the 2 columns. Let's say we have some information that we want to put into 2 columns, but we want this information here at the bottom to appear up here. The way to do this is we would go to Columns, select 2 columns, then we are going to use column breaks. You would click on Breaks, then Columns, and now this moves the information up here. It's not quite in line with the other information, so I'll just hit Enter once to line this up. Next, we're going to work with headers and footers. There are 2 ways to insert a header and a footer. One way is to double click at the top of the page. Notice that it opens the header at the top of this page and also opens the footer at the bottom of this page. When you start a header and a footer, notice you start with a new tab that is open called the Design tab. We are going to close out of this momentarily. To do this, you click on the Close Header and Footer. Let's go back to the top of the page here. I'm going to highlight a selection of the title of this. I'm going to, the next way you can do this is go to Insert, and then you can select Header and Footer from here and do some presets. We'll go over those in a moment. So I'm going to double click on the top of this page and notice that in the ruler we have some preset tab stops. Again, you can alter these, you can change these, but these are just a default. So first off, I'm going to type the author's name. And then next I'm going to insert the title. Notice that this is a center tab, which means the text here will be centered. Next, I'm going to press tab again to go to the next tab stop. What I would like to do here is to insert a page number. To do this, I go over here to page number, and I'm going to select current position. Then you can select from the preset numbers. I want to go with this one. And this tells me that I am currently on page 1 of 28. Now I'm going to close my header and footer, and now you've created a header. You can scroll down throughout the document, and you can tell that it makes it easy to tell on which page you're currently located. Alright, next let's take a look at inserting some preset headers. To do this, click on Insert, and then go over to Header, and you can select any preset that you want. I'm going to go with this one. And this will create something called a content control field, which means you just click on it once, and notice you have the option to edit. So I'll type in, let's do this. And then over here I can click on Date. I have a drop down arrow. I can select today's date and insert that. And then to close out of the header, I can select Close Header and Footer, or I can press the Escape key. Let's say we insert a preset header. I'm going to select this one here. And as I look at this, I like some of it, but I'm not too crazy about having the date in there, and I don't want to insert it. To get rid of this, you would right click, go to Remove Content Control, select it, and then that will remove that option from the header, and then I'll close out of the header. Let's pretend for a moment that this is my research project that's now completed, and I need to insert some proper headers and footers in the document. Well, the first thing I need to do is insert a header. So we'll go to Insert, we'll go to Header, and I'll go with this one here, and we'll put my name here, and we'll call it the research project. And here I want to insert page numbers, so I'll go to page number, insert at the current position, and I'll go with this one. And then I'm going to close out of it. Well, next I need to have a works cited page. And if I insert a page break, it's going to make it page number 29. My works cited page should actually be page 1. So I'm going to show you how you fix this. You go here, and then we go to Page Layout, go to Breaks, Section Break, Next Page. Notice it makes it page 29, and that's not what we want. So we'll double click the area, then we'll go to Page Number, and we are going to format page numbers. We're going to start this at number 1, and then we'll close out of the header. Now we see that this is page number 1, and as we page up, the rest of this retains its proper page numbering. Now there's one last thing we need to fix. We do not want a header on page 1. So we want to get rid of this header, but if we delete this header, it will also delete the headers throughout the rest of the document. So to get around this, we double click. In the Design tab, we have Different First Page. We will select that and then close out of the header. And now we can scroll down and see that the header will be retained on all the subsequent pages.